right to left.
Hey y'all, it's Thomasina. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you know every time I post a new video. I post videos every week on Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. One of the questions that I am asked a lot, or that I was asked a lot when I was in school, was how was I balancing modeling and being a student? A full-time student at that. So today's video is going to be talking about just that. I'm going to give you all tips and a little bit of my personal history with being a student and also being a model. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so you're in school and you decide you want to model, or you are chilling in the McDonald's drive-thru and randomly get scouted by an agent. Whatever your story is, modeling is now in the picture. For me personally, I didn't get scouted. I had to work my way from the ground up, basically. I didn't really have much help from a scout or agent when I first started, so I was doing everything on my own. But in the case that you do get scouted while you're in high school or in college, you want to plan your modeling around your school schedule. And if you get scouted, or if you're seeking out an agency, you want to make sure you let them know, like, straight up that you're in school, just so that they'll have that in mind when sending you to jobs or sending you to casting. Don't think that it's going to deter you from getting signed, or don't think that it's going to deter you from getting work. Just know it will play a role in how much you work and what kind of work you do, but it's still an important fact to mention. I'm going to speak from a college perspective, and if any of my viewers are in high school or in middle school, you can kind of tailor it to what you experience in that grade or in that age range. But because university was my most recent schooling experience, that's the perspective I'm going to speak from. So if you're in college, depending on the rigor of your curriculum, you can be flexible with your school schedule and your modeling schedule. What I mean by rigor is that, like, let's say you're a nursing major, it will be more difficult for you to be flexible, because obviously nursing coursework or the nursing curriculum is way more rigorous. You're gonna have clinical hours that are like mandatory, or you won't graduate. So it'll be a little bit difficult for a nursing major versus maybe like an art major. And this is not saying, oh, art majors are easy or anything like that. I'm just saying, based on the curriculum and the requirements, some majors is going to be easier to pair with modeling than others. So for me, I got a degree in social work, and I got a degree, a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish. So although my curriculum was a little bit rigorous and I did have clinical hours and stuff like that, it still allowed me to be flexible, if that makes sense. Your first step, you want to be in good graces with your professor or your teacher. You want to form a relationship with your professors. So you want to make sure you're sitting towards the front of the class. Make sure you're participating in class, asking questions, answering questions. You want to try to attend office hours. Even if you don't need help in your coursework, stopping by, saying, hi, how are you? I enjoyed this lesson plan. This lesson plan was a little tricky. You just want to have a conversation so that your professor knows you and you know your professor. It's very, very important to build a relationship with your professor, a good relationship with your professor. You want to be showing up on time to class. You want to try to miss as less days as possible, unless it's for modeling. Now, I understand life happens, you get sick or something like that, but try to avoid missing class if at all possible, unless it's for modeling. Once you've created that good relationship with your professor, you can let them know that modeling is like your side job. It's how you make your money. It's how you pay for college. Just, be authentic with them. Be real with them. Tell them that it's your passion along with your academics. I know for me, I didn't tell anyone that I was a model. They kind of just found out through word of mouth or like via my Instagram. But I wasn't like always going around saying that I was a model, because I felt like people don't take the profession seriously. They think it's all like beauty and no brains. And like, if you're missing school to go to an interview for an internship versus missing school to go to New York Fashion Week, obviously they're gonna look at you crazy. So me personally, I was just scared to share that I was a model, because I felt like people weren't gonna take it seriously. They were just gonna laugh in my face. But I found that once you establish that rapport with your teacher or your professor, and then you break the news, well, not break the news, but and then you share with them that, you know, you do model on the side, and explain to them that, you know, sometimes it requires you to travel, sometimes it requires you to miss class, your professors will be more receptive to that information, because they know your background as a student, because you've established that good rapport. So you're showing up to class on time, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, so they know that you're a professional student, so they're more likely to take you seriously when you share that with them. So yeah, you establish that relationship, then you let them know straight up that you are a model, and let them know what it entails. So just kind of give them a heads up that, you know, sometimes I may have to miss a week, sometimes I may have to miss a couple of days. You want to be straight up, and you want to do this with all of your teachers, all of your professors. So it sounds like a lot of work, but it's not. You know, you do what you gotta do. So yeah, you want to do this with everyone across the board. If you're employed, you want to do the same thing. Like for me, I legitimately had about 5 jobs on my university's campus at one time. So I was establishing rapport with everyone. I was making sure everybody liked me. I was making sure I was showing up to work on time, showing up to class on time. I was just a professional student all around, because I knew that when I had to leave for New York Fashion Week, or when I had to leave to go shoot something, that they would understand and they would be more lenient with like helping me out and trying to figure that out. I will say that even though you're establishing rapport with your professors and you're being a good student and all this, that, and the third, some professors and some employers are just really strict, and they may not be willing to work with you. So you have to prepare yourself for that as well. I'm not saying everything is going to be all peaches and cream. From my experience, it was, but that was just a blessing. But everybody's case is going to be different. Everybody's professors are going to be different. So don't go into it expecting that they're going to help you, okay? So this is just what can assist you and what worked for me. Along with establishing rapport with your professors and your employers, as far as coursework goes, you need to maintain an A average. I had a 4.0 GPA throughout my entire collegiate career and my high school career. So I was just a straight A student, like all the time. That was just what it was. I say this because if in the case you get a professor that's not willing to work with you, you know, at least at my university, some of the professors include in the syllabus that if you miss X amount of days, your overall average in the course will go down a certain amount of points. So in the case that you have a professor that's not willing to work with you and you have to miss a couple of days of class, your average is going to go down. So if you have a 100% average, or like a higher average, and your score goes down for missing class, it's not going to affect you as much as if you were maintaining like a C average. So you just want to make sure you can keep your grades as high as possible, so that in the case that your professor is not willing to work with you and they do drop that grade down, you're still going to be in good graces. For example, I think you all know that I shot the Kat Von D Beauty. Kat Von D Beauty launched a new foundation, and I got called. I didn't even get booked for the job. I got called for a callback in New York, like in the middle of the semester. And at this time, I was in like 5 classes, and again, I was working like 5 jobs on campus. So I was very, very busy. And so I was kind of scared to leave for the callback, because I would have had to find people to take my shift. I would have had to tell all my professors, okay, I have to miss X amount of days. And I was, at this point, I hadn't told my professors that I was a model. Really, no one really knew that I was a model except for one of my close friends in my college, like my social work department. She was the only one who knew. So I wasn't sure how I was going to ask them not to drop my grade for missing classes. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but this was a really big opportunity, and I was like, okay, I can't miss this opportunity. So I started off with my jobs. I found people to cover all my shifts, so my job was out of the way. Now when it came to classes, I let all my professors know straight up, look, I got a really big opportunity in New York. I'm going to miss X amount of days. Like, can you work with me on this? I don't want my grade to go down. Like, even though I already have an A, I just was like nitpicky and didn't want my grade to go down. So like I said, at this point, I had already established rapport, so all my professors liked me, so they were more lenient, and I like never missed class, so missing 2 or 3 days of class wasn't a big deal. And side note, throughout my entire college career, I had a system where I did all of my homework for the upcoming week the weekend before, so that I didn't have homework. I wasn't doing homework throughout the week because, again, I had 5 jobs and was a full-time student, so I didn't really have time to be doing homework throughout the week. So this system of doing all my homework the weekend before put me ahead in all of my classes. So even if I was missing 2 days in the week, all of my work was already turned in, so my professors didn't have to worry about me turning work in late. They didn't have to worry about me making up any assignments. Pretty much everything was already done. I just wasn't going to physically be in class. So it really made it easy. And obviously, in the end, I ended up going to New York, booking the job, shooting the campaign, and coming right back and going back to my academics. I may make it sound easy, and if you know me, I may make it look easy, but it really is a lot to consider, especially when if your parents are really big on academia and may not be as receptive to you being a model, it may be challenging. So it's good to have people in your corner who will help you like weigh the pros and cons of when you should leave to take a job, or when you should leave to take a casting, and when you should probably like stay in school or like do that test or whatever. Another thing to do as a student model or model student is you always want to be working on yourself. You're not always going to be booked and busy. Let's set that straight right now, unless you're like Naomi Campbell's Spawn or something like that. But even Naomi Campbell had slow seasons. So you're not always going to be booked and busy, but you always want to be working on yourself. And for me personally, I was in school in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charlotte is full of creatives and really good professional photographers. So depending on where you are, when you're in school, you want to utilize the resources in your area. So check Instagram for local photographers in your area, local makeup artists in your area, check for agencies in your area, all that, and reach out to these photographers and set up shoot dates so that you're continuously building your portfolio, because you're not always going to be able to go to New York to do shoots, or you're not always going to be able to go to LA to do shoots. So it's so easy to just utilize the people in your community and build off of that. And you always want to be shooting. You just always want to be working on yourself, building your portfolio to make you a stronger and more appealing model, even while you're a student. Another helpful thing if you are a model student is if in the case maybe you may not be able to do your homework ahead of time like I was. You want to use any downtime you can to be reading your books, writing papers, just doing all of your assignments. Let's say you take a bus to New York or take a flight to New York. Take your books with you, take your notes with you. On the flight, you shouldn't be sleeping. You should be reading, doing your assignments. If you're waiting in the airport, chilling, instead of scrolling on Instagram, you should be taking that time to finish whatever assignments you need to do. As a model, sometimes we spend hours waiting on set before it's our turn to shoot or it's our turn to do hair and makeup. So be using that time to be reading and completing assignments. You just have to be smart and aware of how to utilize your time. I know college, a lot of times people just want to party, live it up, woo, all of that. But if you have a goal in mind, sometimes it takes your brain to say, no, you don't need to go to that party. You need to finish this assignment because next week you have to fly to this place to do this job. And I will say, when I got to college, all I heard about was the freshman 15. Thankfully, I did not gain the freshman 15. I actually probably lost some weight because I was in the gym like heavy. So that's very, very important. As a model, do not get caught up in like if your university or your college has like fast food restaurants on campus and you get like the like we had declining balance, so all we had to do was like swipe our school card to pay for it. We didn't have to pay like with actual money. Do not get caught up in that. You want to try to maintain a balanced diet, try to maintain a balanced workout routine. You want to stay in shape because modeling is your career. Staying in shape and being healthy is a part of being successful in that career. So I talked a lot about being a model while in college. Now, if I have anyone watching my video who maybe is in high school or middle school, you're gonna have, at least I would think that you would have more support from your parents. You would have to have support from your parents because you're a minor and your parents are gonna have to accompany you wherever you're doing this stuff. So I say, as far as school goes, your parent is gonna have some involvement in letting your teachers know and letting your advisors know that you are a model and that you may need to miss class for such and such. It may help for you to have like a parent-teacher conference with your parent physically there to discuss how they're going to help you be the best student while still pursuing your career. Or your parent may just write a note so that they can have it on file so that you're giving them a heads up and not just like dipping out periodically throughout the semester. You just want to make sure everyone is in the know, or everyone who needs to know is in the know, because you ain't got to tell everybody your business, just the people who like matter, if that makes sense. Ultimately, school comes first. There are plenty of models who, you know, take off faster than they expected while they're in high school, while they're still in high school. So they've had to come out of like public school and be homeschooled. I just had to be about my business and put my priorities to the forefront. If you have a goal in mind and modeling is something that you want to do, how are your teachers and your professors supposed to help you if they don't know, you know? And I had to learn this because it may not seem like it, but I'm actually a very low-key person, and although I have a YouTube and I'm sharing this stuff with you all, there's still a lot that you guys don't know. There was one job that I had. I was there all 4 years of my college career, and no one knew that I was a model until my last year at the university, like my last few months at the university, where someone happened to come across my billboard and they were like, "Oh my God, you didn't tell us you're a model." And I was like, yeah. So yeah, it's not something that like I was speaking on like, "Ooh, I'm a model." It was just something that I didn't feel like everyone needed to know because I was focused on my goals. I had a vision of where I wanted to be, and it didn't include everybody and their mama knowing what I was trying to do. So yeah, I don't even know where that really came from. I don't know where I was going with that. But needless to say, school comes first, but we all have dreams, we all have goals and aspirations. You can do that while completing your schooling. Even though people say like if you have a dream, you shouldn't have a backup plan because then it's gonna like make you want to quit or something like that. You'll know you have something to fall back on, so you won't try as hard. I don't really see it as that. I think a backup plan is really important, especially in this day and age. You never know, like, what could happen. So I'm glad that I got my degrees. I'm glad my parents suggested that I go get my degrees first. So yeah, finish school. You know, school may not be for everyone. If you're in high school and you don't want to go to university, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to force you. Everybody's life path is going to be different. But while I was in school, these are just things that helped me do what I needed to do to get where I am today, while still maintaining good graces in my academia. Alright guys, I hope this video helped you. If you have any more questions that I did not answer, as always, comment down below. I will answer as soon as I can. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Thomasina Myrisa. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!